Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
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 Excuse me.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Vernon.
Trying to get the chat up. I'm a little slow this morning.
You guys can hear me all right, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I sound like a robot?
No.
Okay, that's
Not today.
Wonderful, Valerie.
Is this 78
good. 78 what?
episode?
This is 92.
Oh.
Where the hell have you been?
Whoopsie. Well, usually it comes up like on my YouTube. It usually comes up as episode, which would be right now.
Yeah.
And that was what was up. So I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't know what happened.
Don't know either. I am not Robin. Hi, Eric.
Hello. How's everybody this morning?
Oh.
Huh?
How is everybody this morning?
Oh, pretty good.
Wonderful. It's wonderful.
Wonderful. Wow.
I'm not wonderful, but I'm okay.
Well, she's wonderful because the plumbers were laying pipe yesterday.
That's the truth.
Never
So
gets old, Valerie.
How did the plumbing trip go?
It went good.
Were they able to just do a little repair?
Yeah. They it was a tree root. And yeah, they went in and just repaired that one piece. And then he was saying, what was he saying? Something about a clean out. They put a clean out in there.
Okay, that's cool.
What is it? I don't even know what that means.
A clean out it's where they put a little pipe and they can bring it up so they can actually makes it easier for them to run the little cutters through and clean things out easier from that end, so they don't have to go into your house and go all the way out through your house.
Gotcha.
Yeah, nowadays the code is they put a clean out of your sewer stack outside of your house in your yard.
Oh, really?
Back in our days, or back when when my house was built, when that house was built, that wasn't code, so they didn't do it. So now they don't have to come into your house, and they can actually clean out from both sides, going both ways now. So it's actually easier.
Huh. Nice.
So I mean, if you get your, especially when you've had issues, get it cleaned out once a year or so, you'll be fine. Yeah, it's like that preventative maintenance stuff.
Well, that's good.
You'll be good for a while. So
that's good.
And the nice thing is, it probably wasn't too expensive getting a small repair done.
Yeah.
A big amount?
No, I don't have an amount. They're supposed to send me a bill.
Oh,
it's probably going to be in the neighborhood of $600 or $700.
I would gather. I'm thinking that's what it's going to cost.
Mainly just because they had to bring in equipment to do it.
Yeah.
Not better than what they estimated, though.
What's that?
Yeah, I mean, they should have given
what they estimated.
Yeah, I mean, the estimates can go anywhere from $500 to probably $8 or $9 grand is probably what they're. I mean, they just don't. That's the bad thing about plumbing outside underneath your yard. They have no idea what they're getting into.
Yeah, you just never know.
You already got your snacks. Go ahead.
But I was just, I was really surprised how quickly it took, because they were only here for, I think, 2 hours.
Well, that's good, because less amount of hours means more, less amount of pay you're paying. So
that's right. So.
Oh.
I'm gonna go to lunch with my mother-in-law today, and
That's cool. And you can drive there.
well, actually, it's just up the road. She'll probably just come by and pick me up because it's actually in the town that I live in. We do have a little cafe. That's so weird.
Brandon's making Mighty Dog, so I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
That was weird. That's Sally. We expected it.
Oh.
You just now
For
you
some
take that
reason, I
shot.
can't find them.
You take that shot that Sally just did, and that's your spring grabs.
Yeah.
Now your salesman.
Oh gosh.
She auditioning for some other online roles now.
Oh, maybe.
Your salesman good?
Yeah, they've been pretty consistent. I would say at least 4 to 5 a day.
Now you because you were recently went to the anchor store and you've been listing your butt off, right?
Right.
So do you think it's? I mean, has it definitely paid you dividends to list as much as you've been listing and have the anchor store? You think with your sales compared to where you were maybe 3 months ago?
Oh yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay. Are you getting enough do you think to make a living off of it?
Yes. Well,
I mean, because both you and I have an alternate source of income right now.
right.
So, but if you didn't have that, could you pay your bills?
Yes.
Okay. So that's making a living. I mean, it's not a great living, but it's making a living. So you're not going to have a lot of money left over.
Right. Right.
Okay. How?
Yeah, it definitely, helps having that extra income just in case, I would love to be in a position where I could just pay my bills with my alternate,
Yeah.
income, and then just kind of have this as my nest egg type of thing, And that way but every once in a while I have to dip into that, and, with the car and all that. So,
Yeah. See, right now I'm lucky enough that my other income covers basically all my bills.
mm-hmm.
I do have one car. I do have a car payment for a little while longer, but I don't have a mortgage. So that's a big difference that most people don't. I don't pay rent or have a mortgage or anything like that. So,
Right.
So I mean, I am covering, which I think actually affects my motivation. I don't have to put as much effort in as everybody else does. And I
Right.
acknowledge that, and I'm not ashamed of that or anything. It just is what it is. But I'm kind of I'm trying to get to the point where I'm not using that income at all. That's where I want to get it. I want to have that my wife's death benefit coming in, and I want that to go straight into a bank, and I don't touch it.
You sound like a robot, Eric.
To you, maybe, Sam.
Yeah, you're a little staticky and glitchy for some reason.
I had 2 sales last night.
Maybe it's my voice. Maybe
It's better.
Staticky and glitchy. But yeah, that's where I want to get my goal to. It's hard to make that change. When you're just, I'm not going to rely on outside income. I want eBay to totally be my income. But we shall see. I know Sally wants to get there. Right, Sally. I said, you want to get there, don't you? Where you can just be eBaying.
Yes. I hope it doesn't take as long as I think it's going to take. I want to speed it up. but I know that the only way I could do that is to list more.
Yeah. And you can't list more?
And you're kind of between a rock and a
I
hard
can.
Why not? You have the inventory.
I can. I know.
So that's not the issue.
No.
Okay, so you have the inventory.
I think I'm
You
just
do work a
lazy.
second crazy job. Well, no, you work a full-time job. So I mean, there's that.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
40 hours a week, let's just say. You also work at night, which is a different lifestyle than most people.
Right.
So it does affect you a little differently. You're not as motivated during the day as some people work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday is. I mean, just the light dark thing just messes you up. I mean, I've done night
Mhm.
work, so I get that. But I mean, are you listing every day?
No.
Yeah, I'm not talking about your days off. I'm talking about your work days. Because your days off, if you want to take true days off, then that's fine. But you know, if you're going to list, if you want to replace your full-time income, you're going to have to list every day.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, and it sucks because I mean, I know I could still get sales here and there, you know, when I'm not listing, but I know that if I was listing, I would get a lot more sales. And so that should be my motivation, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh well.
Yeah.
It's like any other entrepreneurial job or where you're working for yourself. You have to be the harder boss than you've ever worked for anybody in your life.
Mm,
You have to be the taskmaster. Yeah, I mean, you're the one that decides when you work, what you do. You know, whether or not you work at all, it's totally up to you. And this is why so many people fail at this type of, or not just this type of work, but any type of at-home work.
Yep.
It's so easy to turn the boob tube on or take a nap or, you know, oh, I'll get to it eventually. I got all day to work, and then before you realize it, the whole day is gone.
it
You
goes
know,
by fast.
Yep.
It goes by fast, especially like, you know, when we're on here and we're talking and stuff, I try to get some work done. I don't try that hard, but I do try.
well,
And sometimes, like yesterday, I didn't get shit done. I was fucking around too much.
and see, to me, the morning show, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get my game plan for the rest of the day. So I'm drinking my coffee,
Right.
waking up. I do go into my eBay and I look at things from the previous night. What happened? Do I got to do any listing? Do I have to do any put a sale on, change some promoted listings, get my shipping set up and ready to go? At the end of the show, we kind of all start our shipping process.
Mm-hmm.
And once I do that, then I'm into that. Okay, I'm done with all the housekeeping side of eBay, and now it's time to actually work and list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do. I don't necessarily do it all the time. Like today, I'm going to the zoo with my son, so
Oh, fun.
yeah. So after the show, and I'll get my shipping done and get that stuff at the post office, and then we're going to go to the zoo. So, but he's been on spring break all week. So my whole week's been kind of jacked up because he's been on spring break. So I've been doing a lot more, you know, entertaining with him and
Yeah.
helping him out and stuff like that. So, boy's bugging me more this week. But I mean, that's how I usually try to game plan my day out. I don't look at the morning show as a sit down and just start powering out listings and everything. I'm not Tara, you know, who's listing all the time and everything, but she's got 3,000 items in her store, so she's got a level she's maintaining. So,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm keeping mine right around 500, and I really need to up it. You know, but it's just one of those, I need to sit down. I do get those listing motivational days where I'll do 100 listings in one day. So I need to do more 20 items a day instead of 100 and then kill myself for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely seen that where if you bust out a bunch of listings, you get great bumps from it, but you're just so burned out.
Yeah.
So I like
I
to.
have 547 items.
That's great.
And I would like, I mean,
That's good. I got like
it
486 right now.
It seems like a certain plateau though. Like I seen somebody posted on it the other day. Like you get to so many items in your store and you kind of plateau on your sales?
I don't necessarily believe that. I mean, I
don't
have, you know, last year when I saw my sales start to really change, especially when I changed my listing format and all that. I only had 300 items in my store. So it was one of those deals where, okay, now I've kind of increased a little bit. I think it's not the sales plateau. I think the person plateaus. You build your store up and then you start, oh, I got 500 listings. I'm making decent money. I'm getting sales every day. And now all of a sudden it's, oh, I got 500 items. I can take a break. You know,
you're not as diligent.
Yeah. I mean, and it's tough because the more you list, the more you have in inventory. And then that inventory starts to get bigger and bigger. And you're just like, this stuff's not moving as fast as I thought it would.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on with it? So
I'm gonna run out of room here quick.
Like I just sold a Beach Boys laser disc that I bought February of last year.
Wow.
And yeah, and I like listed them right whenever I got them. So it's been on for a while and I just sold it today. So weird.
Well, that's the thing that I found out too, is that, you know, if and when I'm listing, I'm selling new items that are just getting, that I've just listed, and I'm also selling older inventory too.
Old people.
So
Mm.
old people, that's right. I'm selling old people.
Selling old people.
You better quit that now.
You better,
That ain't right.
you better stop that. You whippersnapper. Are we talking about being lazy?
Yeah, I was.
a little bit of it's just more about self-motivation for, because, once you build your store up to a certain level, there's that tendency to, I'm finally, I got 1,000 listings. You sit back and then you don't realize you could take 4 or 5 days off, your sales start to go down. You're like, what the hell? I got 1,000 listings, instead of going, oh, I still need to keep doing what I do to maintain that level. And Dusty's talked about it before, how, every time you list a batch of stuff, usually 10 or 20% of it sells right away. And then it's just waiting for the other stuff to show up. I mean, it's very rarely do you list an item and it sells right away. I mean, it's just the stuff we sell that isn't like that.
You gotta keep your momentum going.
Yeah, and keeping that momentum is the hardest thing. And taking days off, I think, is one of the biggest keys you got to do. You got to treat it like a job.
Yep.
A job.
You can't take a.
It's not just.
You can't take a 2-month hiatus and think you're gonna make money.
And Nikki is speaking from experience.
Is Nikki eating breakfast?
Might be.
I had chimichangas for breakfast.
Is that a euphemism?
I love the
I'm drinking chicken broth.
Oh, Nikki sounds like she's not feeling good.
No, I think I got
she's
bronchitis.
sick.
Yeah.
She needs to go to the doctor.
They can't give you any medicine for bronchitis.
Nope.
Just have to let it go away.
You can treat the symptoms, though.
Counter stuff to do that.
And
if I get a fever, the difference between bronchitis and pneumonia is fever. Fever, I will go to the doctor because then I have pneumonia.
We can put you down like we did Old Yeller.
but you could have a low-grade fever and not even really know it. And you could have pneumonia.
Yep.
I have a shingle.
Do you have a massager?
Actually, I don't.
That's a personal question.
I'm trying to be nice here.
My husband is my massager. I don't need stuff like that when you're married.
Okay. Have him cup his hand like this
Yeah.
and
Oh God.
hit it against where your lungs are.
Oh
It's
yeah.
called CPT.
I do that for him for his asthma. When he has
Yeah,
a real
that'll
bad
work on you too right now.
cold. Well, stuff is still coming up, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
I just drink a lot of I drink a lot of chicken broth and stuff. I'm doing good, drinking a lot of water.
That's good.
It'll go away, but bronchitis can take like up to like 4 weeks to go away, and then the cough can take like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I know a
I
lot
know.
of stuff. I
I
here. My friend told me to start first. Me,
You're breaking up. Yeah, I mean, I started feeling a little bit congested yesterday morning, and I'm still feeling kind of like it's almost right there, but I just keep saying I'm not getting sick. I'm not going to get sick. I can't afford to get sick.
I still
I can't do it.
and that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah, I've had a little cough here while I'm just waiting for it to either go away or get so bad I can go to the doctor. So.
Jim went to the doctor and they wouldn't even give him anything because it was virus, so he couldn't get an antibiotic. He spent a half a day at the clinic and he's like, it was just a big waste of time. I should have stayed home.
Well, I have a doctor's appointment next month anyway, so if it's not better by then, I'll be getting something. So.
Yeah.
I see myself getting better. I mean, stuff ain't stuck inside my chest, so as long as I see things still progressing, because I know they can't give me anything for it, and once I start, if things don't keep progressing, can give me something like a nebulizer or something. But right now it's going good.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was saying, Dusty, you'd probably be happy to hear, I'm drinking kefir.
What is that?
Like
that stuff bacteria.
Oh. That's good.
My friend told me I should be drinking a half a cup to a cup a day.
You need that in a cup of warm, fresh horse milk.
Horse milk. Yeah.
Nay.
You are so gross with horse milk.
I'm drinking chicken broth, warm chicken broth. That helps a lot.
Get you a cup of bull milk.
Ew.
Oh my gosh.
The chickens.
Does anybody watch Trailer Park Boys in here? Not really.
What?
Yeah,
Did he
I have.
The new season came out to Netflix like 2 weeks ago where they have the bull demon in the barrel and Ricky tastes it and they've got
Oh, ish.
Yeah, they're awful.
I haven't seen that one.
I walk in there, to do something, and he's got that shit playing. I'm like, what the hell are you watching?
Oh, I love that show.
Because it's just
That's
like,
funny.
it's like those people that always have something going on in their lives. Like, there's
like
always something every single day.
It's like those people that live in Alabama. No, I'm just kidding.
I missed what show it was.
It's called Trailer Park Boys. On Netflix.
Yeah, never heard of
It's
that.
funny. It's about a bunch of, I'll call them like Canadian rednecks. They live in a trailer park boy. They do petty crime. And it's all like, it's funny, They sell dope. They got guns, they're drunk all the time. It's just kind of funny.
Oh, it sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
It is.
Drunk, drugs, guns, petty crime.
It's hilarious.
It's funny. It is funny.
Right.
I'll start paying attention to it, and I'm like, okay, I can't watch this shit. I cannot do this. Like, I'll get all wrapped up in it if I start watching it, I guess.
That
That's all.
that one show, Girl Boss, is supposed to come on today.
Girl Boss? Oh, Girl Boss. Supposed to go on Netflix?
I never heard of it.
Was it Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
That one is about a girl that buys things from a thrift store and sells them on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Man, so
Is
she
it
got
on Netflix or Hulu?
it's on Netflix.
Netflix.
Oh, I'll check it out.
yeah. Well, she did everything wrong. She got booted off of eBay and then opened up her own business, and it's crashed horribly. She filed for bankruptcy, the whole 9 yards. So
I think I
somebody
saw the
said-
preview for it. And she does like a bunch of clothes and maybe lives like in New York City or something.
she lives in LA, and yeah, that's that they. She was a clothing seller, then started going into branding, and started selling vintage looking things and vintage. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that went on that she just kind of did wrong.
Sounds like real.
It's an interesting. I mean, it's a rise to fame and then back down again. So
Sure.
I mean, the
I
story's
heard-
interesting.
I heard
You heard what?
somebody. Sorry,
Oh, I thought-
somebody said that she had investors or something.
I don't know. I looked her up on Facebook. It's actually kind of interesting, but I mean, they basically said that the reason she failed miserably was she grew so fast, and they were talking about how she had taken out lease on a 50,000 square foot,
Yeah.
I think it was LA or San Francisco office building, and she had like 14 employees at the time. It was just like silly. That's where you got too much money coming in, and you think you can upscale it that fast, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like Robin said.
Then? It's not like a comedy. It's like a documentary, like real life.
I think it's
It's a show based on
I think
reality.
it's comedy.
That's about it.
Oh, based on reality. Okay. I'll check it out. Boss Girl or something? It's on Netflix.
Girl Boss.
Girl Boss.
Girl Boss.
Robin said that it's supposedly based on Nasty Gal.
Yeah, and that's
I don't know what that is.
I
Right,
don't know
right.
what that is.
No, my dad did.
Oops.
What the hell?
Nasty Gal, that was her name? Nasty Girl?
Nasty
Nasty
gal.
Gal, I think.
Gal.
What was that about? I never saw that.
I don't know.
We're talking probably
Oh, why did you do that?
2008, 2009. I can't remember what her years were.
Sophia Amoruso.
Yeah.
And then she started selling stuff online, and then she founded Nasty Gal, a women's fashion retailer, which went on to be named one of the fastest growing companies by Inc. magazine in 2012, and then she filed Chapter 11 in 2016.
Wow.
Good job.
Bravo. Yeah.
Not everybody, and I don't know her story, but it's not everybody's good with business. It's not.
Well,
eBay can still be a good source of income, but I think to take it to a certain level, you have to have business sense too, or learn it, or figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading this
think
wiki
they're gonna-
page.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
The thing I see is all these newbies think they're going to grow their business really fast, and they're going to get into these warehouses and hire all these employees and stuff. and it's just not a reality. You know,
Yeah.
and most of the people that I've seen in my experience, when they do that, they blow it.
Yeah, they're totally overextending themselves.
I mean, there's always something to be said about having ambition and
Yeah.
wanting to grow your business to the point where I mean, you turn it into a real, entrepreneurship type thing, but it's, eBay's the one type of business where when you hire employees, you're basically showing them your entire model. And
Yep.
eventually people will get tired of working for $10 an hour and go out and see that you're making a lot of money and they're going to go out and do it on their own. You're training your
Yeah.
competition every single time. And a lot of times people say, well, I still do it better. But, like if I'm a accounting company and I hire accountants and then one of my accountants leaves and wants to go start his own business, most of the time that's not a big deal because it's the service level you provide. But, eBay is one of those unique things that you can go out there and be successful on your own.
I don't want to get big enough to hire outside employees, honestly. I just don't want the responsibility of employees either.
Yeah.
That's me.
It wouldn't be terrible if you had to do it. Just understand that you're probably not going to have them for long. You'll train them up, and then you'll be hiring somebody again. I don't think anybody who's hired eBay employs someone at eBay, they keep them very long. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a rare thing unless you find somebody who just wants to take photos for you. Maybe
Well, it works
Yeah.
out.
they don't want to do the seller thing. They just want to do the photo thing. So
It works out for Will Terminal 99. He's had it for a long time. But just because it works out for one doesn't mean it's going to work out for everybody. I mean, you know,
I don't want the responsibility of payroll, workman's comp, all that stuff. Let alone, and you are training people, because I'll use this as an example. We have a very good friend who has a shop. He gave up on training people to help him do transmissions because everyone he trains, he has them 6 to 8 months, and they go open their own transmission.
yeah. Now, like in my situation, I have a niece who needs some extra money and wants to help me out, which is fine. I'm going to teach her how to do it so she can help me out and get her some extra money. But she has no ambition whatsoever to go do anything on her own. And I know that for a fact because she just has no ambition. And now she got a new job, a promotion, so she may not even want to do this anymore. And then another thing is once in a while I'll hire my nephew, and he's a dingaling, borderline retarded, I think, mentally retarded, and that's not a joke. He really is. And I have him come and help me with like organizing and stuff like that, and lifting and doing that kind of stuff, and I'll pay him to do it just because he needs the money, but he would do it for free, but I help him out. But other than that, yeah, I really can't see. I always joke around saying, oh man, I need an employee. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody just doing my job for me? But really and truly, I don't want somebody else doing this. Even like we were talking about the other day, when we were talking about Dusty and Tristan, and does Tristan help you with shipping? And he's like, by the time I tell her what I need done and whatever, I already have half of it already done. And that's the same thing with me and my husband. If I got a big shipping day and he's trying to help me, it's like by the time I've got everything halfway done by the time I've already told him what needs to be done. So I might as well just do it myself. Except for like creating and stuff. He does that kind of stuff.
I mean, most of the easy stuff, like the first class, I mean, y'all see me on the show. I just sit here and I do it like from right here. It's not really going to speed the process up any for me to print the packing slip, print the label, get the item, put it in the bubble mailer, put it on the bubble mailer, and then walk in there simply for her to tape the label to it and pull the string off the off the sticky mailer.
For me, I think if I was a total clothing seller, I mean, I'm going to be a power clothing seller, a Ben's buyer, whatever. That is probably the only time I could see hiring somebody to basically do my photos and measures and that would be a fairly easy thing to train them on how to do. It doesn't take much to train somebody to do decent eBay. Yeah, good camera, the whole 9 yards. And then you have maybe a worksheet that you print out that you say, okay, for every item of clothing, log what you're taking and log the measurements, and then take the photos, and then create me a stack, and that way I've got a big stack that I can just sit here and I can just continually list while you're doing that. I could see that as a nice need. I mean, it's somebody who could really help you in your business, but you're not really teaching them the whole business, especially if they don't want to do anything. They just want a photo and take some measurements for you. Yeah, I mean, they could even do it a couple hours a day, and then you've got hours of worth of work there. But I can't really see any real need for another employee until you get 4,000 or 5,000 listings, maybe then you might need some help with shipping. But it just would depend on what you're selling. But I just don't see. Yeah, man, that's a huge. I mean, employees are a huge cost. I mean, Jason, you had employees for how long?
It was a year and a half, I think, something like that. It was a little over a year. I mean, in one aspect, it was cool. Like, I didn't have to ever ship a package again.
Yeah.
But I mean, what goes with that though is a ton of paperwork and teaching people and et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, it just wasn't very fun. It was more of a hassle, to be honest with you.
And you have to go back and make sure they did it right,
Oh yeah.
Double check their work, and then you might as well have done it yourself. You're going back and double checking their work,
And then, as Eric knows, you got to deal with the age-old employee shrinkage problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, did your income increase exponentially because you had employees?
No, because there's just, and it's not just the employees though. It's when you have more employees, you have a bigger location. You have, there's other logistics to it.
Yeah.
So in the long sense, I actually, all said and done, the numbers are a lot less, but I actually personally make more money than then when I had employees. So
well, it goes back to the saying: the more money you make, the more money you spend.
I dug up some really old articles on Nasty Girl, and supposedly she and another store called Mama Stone Vintage and Luli Vintage, they were all in cahoots together, shill bidding on items, running each other's items up. She was also buying supposedly buying stuff out of China and selling it as a vintage. I think there was probably more.
No, if you did that,
I think, I don't know, if you look at the whole story of it, I mean, and then she goes, okay, I'm just not coming back. I don't like eBay anymore. And this is just the story I'm piecing together. I don't like eBay anymore because they won't let us leave negative feedback. And the speculation from the general majority is that, no, you got suspended. And then when you came back off your suspension, you, by that point, had built such a client base with your website, you just said, screw it, I'm going to go somewhere else. Yeah. But, then that lasted a couple years and she was kind of successful with it. But it said at one point in time, right before they filed bankruptcy, she said she didn't want to be CEO. She wasn't management material, put the word out there that they were hiring a CEO, and then she just up and files bankruptcy. It sounds to me like somebody that really doesn't know how to manage a business.
Yeah.
They just got lucky being good at selling a certain type of item, and then it grew to a point where they didn't know what the hell they were doing. And so they gave up and started over in real world and went to do the same thing once again.
Now, see, unless you just don't want to do your job, I don't understand hiring a play. Because even on something that I don't normally do, like clothing, when I have done clothing, I can whip that stuff out just even sometimes faster than I can my collectibles. But once you start getting in your groove and whipping out listings, I think it's just as fast doing it yourself as it is hiring somebody else. I mean, unless you totally want to be lazy and not do anything, Like right now, I'm on my hiatus. It would be nice to have an employee.
You just want someone to sit in the van with you and drive around.
I know it gets
That's what I
lonely
got
on
lug
the
nut
road.
for. That's what I got lug nut for.
Mm. I'll tell you, I really do miss having a shipper.
Yeah,
That was
would be
great.
nice.
I got a
but
gym.
That's if you decide that, oh, today I'm going to ship 90 packages because I ended all my auctions on at the same time. So, perhaps spacing might be a better alternative.
No, that's true. And back then the volume was so much more, so you really needed someone. So.
But you were doing bigger machines and
just a lot of more product. It was pushing, I'd say, 3 times more than what I'm doing now. But but right now, like you said, I only do like maybe at most 2 big days of shipping a month. So there's no need for an employee, because what would he do the other 28 days?
And he could even make it better for himself and spread out his auctions. So he didn't have so much work to do on those couple days. But.
Exactly. So I really don't have a need for it. And I think the hardest part of having employees was the ones that you had to train to list stuff, because I do such a specialty thing. It was very difficult for them to list, because you can put the object down and they won't even know what the hell it is. You know what I mean? Usually there's not even a name on it. It's just a random part. So that was a lot of work.
And on that specialty item, they don't have the drive to really look into what it really truly is and how much it's worth. They don't care.
No, that wasn't so bad. I think a lot of it was because at most of the employees that we got for listing were ported over from my friend's I sold it on eBay store. So they were very familiar with like looking stuff up and being accurate and looking for the highest value in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they were good employees. It's not like I had bad employees. It's just
Yeah.
hard to train specialty stuff. And it would take a lot of time out of my day. And, and most of the time I was on the road just buying all the time. So it was hard for me to time manage myself with that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Fun days, but I don't want to go back. It was a good learning experience.
Yeah.
But I thought having employees and having a giant warehouse meant that you were making, $500,000 or $1 million, Jason. I mean, with all that money you were pulling in, come on.
Yeah.
It goes right back out.
Exactly.
Yeah, the cost of hiring. I mean, because the problem is everybody thinks that you can hire an employee and just 1099 them.
Well, I mean, I had a total. I think it was it was somewhere between 6 or 8 people. I mean, there was a photography guy. There was a couple of listers. And, the shipping guy. And I had 2 partners with me. So, it was a bunch of people.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of rules that go along with the difference between an employee and a contractor. And that's a great way to get yourself in trouble.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We had a bar up here that would hire bartenders and call them independent contractors. Well, until they got in a fight with one, and they went down to the unemployment office, and that put that bar out of business, and lost it. I mean, you'll lose everything if you mess around with that. Because when they come after you, you're going to be in big trouble.
They're either going to get hurt, or when you fire them, go for unemployment. That's the 2 ways you usually get pinched.
Yeah, I forget and then you have to make sure you have enough insurance. I'm not talking employee insurance. I mean, physical insurance for the building, and if someone gets hurt in there. And there were so many added expenses. I just woke up, so I can't even think of it.
Yeah, I mean, you think about workman's comp, employment, just regular insurance. your share of the employment taxes. I mean, every year when we all file our taxes, we're paying full boat on the taxes that for basically being your own employer. You pay that 14% or whatever, as opposed to the 7% for Social Security. So I mean, now you got 7% of whatever you paid out last year has got to go back to, you got to pay that into taxes for Social Security. I mean, and then your tax issues are even more complicated. So.
Oh yeah, and then the company van. What else was it?
Oh yeah, and then again, it's just a nightmare, especially if you scale up to 4, 5, 7 employees. But I mean, and that's you think about it, I can sit in my house and do this job and make good money, or I can scale it up and create a job for me with responsibilities to other people, and probably still make about the same amount of money. I mean, most people don't make great money when they first start out with a business that they're building. So.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, I'll just pay them cash under the table," But yeah, you still have those people coming to your place of business or whatever you have. About them, like you.
Well, and let's say a person you're paying cash, you have whatever happens, you have a disagreement, or they get mad at you, or you decide what they're going to do. They're going to go on unemployment, and you're going to get busted. Because people can be assholes when they get mad at you.
Well, there's another way, and it's when they get hurt. When you go to the doctor and they say, "Well, how'd you get hurt?" They got a form. They got to write down where it happened, and if you say at work, they're going to say they're going to start asking you about work, what kind of employee you are, and whatnot. And I almost guarantee you the definition that quote unquote independent contractor is going to give is not going to be the same as the actual legal definition of an independent contractor. So then they become an employee, and now you get stuck with not having workman's comp insurance, and the state is going to nail your foot to the floor.
Yeah.
You're gonna crawl up your ass with a microscope.
Yeah, and independent contractor, if you say they're an independent contractor, but you expect them at your place at 9 a.m. if they have to work till let's say 12, they're not an independent contractor. You can't put timelines like hours you need to show up and stuff like that. Then they're a regular employee.
Yep. And you're providing everything that they need. That makes them an employee, not a contractor. Like I said, there's so many basic rules that people just don't understand.
And then you got to spend extra money on even what do you call it? Can't think of the word right now. I'm so tired. But I remember we had to get couple, I think 1,000 sterilite bins or whatever, because since no one knows what the objects are, every time you have to put an object in a numbered bin and have it, have the inventory system set up so people can find things, like the shipper knows what to ship, the photo guy knows what to take photos of, etc. So there's other behind the scenes things too.
Yes, I would say probably with an employees, you have to have it written in gray on how to do stuff, because you just do it your way, but now you got to teach somebody else to do it. Oh wow.
I do miss going to auctions every day, practically.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Minimum 4 days a week, I was just buying, and usually it was even more than that. I'd get to know every auctioneer, just everyone. That was a lot of fun. It's always fun spending money.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what everybody. That's what the pie in the sky to everybody is they think, oh, if I get this employee, all I have to do is shop. The fun part of eBay, and it's not necessarily true.
No, but I mean, you had to though, because you have to, now that you got all these employees, you got to feed them inventory constantly.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they're not doing anything. So yes, you really do have to constantly be buying, but yeah, you have to allocate a certain amount of time into teaching them. So and watching over them, etc.
Yeah,
it wasn't for me.
It's a really difficult business to scale.
I'm not a good boss.
It's exactly what Dusty just said. It's not like you're dealing with a couple of retail products that your company makes or sources.
It's a very difficult business to scale to any extent because of a lot of different variables. And I think that's why you don't hear, I mean, I'm sure they're out there, and I'm talking about eBay and not Amazon, but that's why you don't hear these stories of, I started by myself selling an eBay in a spare bedroom and I grew it to a warehouse with 57 employees. It's not really that kind of business that's scalable. You hear a million people try about it, talk about it, and then they never mention it again. You never hear about it again. They just kind of disappear off the, 1 minute it's, I'm going to get a warehouse and hire employees. And then you never hear about it. Yeah, and I'm not saying there aren't success stories out there, but I think it's so tough to scale this business that it's really not. I mean, unless you're in a really maybe specific, like I know a guy that did that years ago, and his was selling nothing but blue jeans. Okay, maybe you could scale that. That's, especially if you're buying them by the I'm about to sneeze, by the pallet box full like he was. Or the truckload full, something like that. But just your everyday thrifted items going to the Goodwill bins and stuff like that, you can't. That's really tough to scale.
Yeah.
Having a helper, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't trust anybody with my business that much.
No.
Was that hard for you, Jason, the letting somebody else list and pack and ship your inventory and hoping they didn't screw it up, knowing you were going to be the one stuck with the negative feedback?
At first, until I really trained them well. And like I said, I had systems in place, like the inventory system that would, ensure that packages wouldn't get sent, like the wrong item would get sent to the wrong person. And actually the guy that I hired to do the packing was a former FedEx employee, so he already had skill in packing. I chose my employees smartly. My photographer was he was a professional photographer on the side, looking for a little extra income. The FedEx guy had his job got downsized, and I got him. And then I had the listers from the sold store. I had really good employees. They weren't the problem, other than having to teach the finer points of what the items are. Other than that, they were good employees, so I can't complain on that aspect. I got very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, but that's, find a whole set of employees like that with
it's
everyday people. You're not going to get people like that.
Yeah, I had certain advantages, between finding those people, and I found most of those people through the contacts of, because my partner owned 3 of those. I sold it on eBay stores.
Yeah.
So, he had a few years into those, and he had contacts, so I was able to find good people. I guess starting out, if someone's just doing it, they wouldn't necessarily have those type of contacts. You'd just be hiring over the general public pool.
At the end of the day, did you really net, as far as take home, without obviously going into specifics, but
I make
really net anymore having all that headache than you could do on your own?
After a year and a half, I realized that I could make more on my own, which I do now, than all those headaches. And it wasn't, believe me, it was a tough decision because I actually liked the business. It was set up nice, and things were running smooth. It's not that we're collapsing or anything like that, but it just got to the point where I was doing so much work and so much of my time was just into it that it was like more than a job. It was almost like a way of life, And after a year and a half, I was like, listen, this, it's just not working out for me. So we dissolved it. And now I'm, a lot more laid back. I mean, but I do work a lot, but it's nothing like that. And I make, a bit more now.
Yeah.
you offer any incentives, or were they just straight up flat pay? Was there any incentive to list more or do better or anything like that? Any kind of bonus program or?
No, not really, but we paid them pretty good. It wasn't that they were, they weren't minimum wage employees because they were all members of that, like I said, that sold at store. They were all employees with my partner for several years, so they weren't at minimum wage,
They were skilled.
Yeah. Yeah, all the employees were good. That wasn't a problem at all. It was more so the expenditures of just having a bigger business,
Mm-hmm.
Coupled with my time was just I could only stretch myself so thin.
Yeah. And that's the thing, if I had employees, I wouldn't have break that I've been taking. I would have to make sure that they.
You're very glitchy, Nikki.
You've been glitchy for about 3 days. Are you back on Wi-Fi? Is that what it is? Is it your home Wi-Fi?
I don't mean to discourage anyone, but there's a big difference between having, say, 6 employees versus just having 1 employee that you're hiring.
I mean, if you have good family, I could see having a family member helping you out. That might be an ideal situation if you don't have a partner or something like that. But yeah, I just don't see hiring people for this. And maybe I don't have that vision. I mean, yeah, I guess if you end up with 10,000 items in your store and you're shipping out 200 packages a day as well as trying to maintain that, I could see you might need that. But I mean, that's rough.
I don't know. I feel it gets to a point where as soon as you dip to another employee, it's like you have to now break a different price bracket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like once you get set in a comfortable price bracket where everything's fine, you're making X amount and everything's comfortable and you're not killing yourself and you enjoy your job and life is great. That's one thing. But once you add an employee, now all of a sudden you got to raise that scale up higher. And sometimes that's difficult,
If you're clearing, say at the end of the year, you're clearing $50,000 a year on eBay, which is a fantastic income. You hire an employee at minimum wage, a minimum decent wage. Say you're paying somebody $10 an hour. That's $20,000 a year you got to account for now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're making 50 grand, now you got to make 70 grand to make the exact same 50 grand you were making before. And actually it's more than that because you got all the other expenses that go along with it. So you almost have to be ready to make that jump to double your business to make it worthwhile to hire an employee.
Yep. And you just got to make sure that's worthwhile to you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, think about it. If you doubled your business and then you look back and go, wow, I doubled my business and now most of it's going to the second employee. So yeah, I'm just basically giving him everything I'm making to double my business.
Yeah. And if you do it, definitely go over the numbers after a year and see if it was really worth it.
Yeah.
So I kind of jumped in on this. How did we even get on this topic?
You came in right at the right time.
Yeah.
We're talking about this new show that comes on. I don't know. Probably, well, I don't know. I guess I had something to do with it. This new show that's coming on Netflix.
Oh, that girl thing?
Yeah.
Girl boss.
Oh, right. I think I saw a commercial for it.
But I wonder how realistic it's going to be because just in reading to find out about the original story about Nasty Gal, she doesn't seem to have ever really admitted, what caused the original downfall. So I don't know that anybody really knows.
Also makes good TV, I guess, and plugs eBay. It's all good, I guess.
Truth.
Yeah, another batch of people they'll get clothing out of the bins. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing is I said anything that promotes eBay is always going to be good for all of us, even if it's kind of showing things in a negative light, because people understand that this girl's got. I think this girl's they're going to show her that she's kind of a little stuck up, snobby little person, and she probably deserved to get booted from eBay, and so it's I don't think it's going to show eBay too negatively.
Yeah.
So in order to use the name, they must have struck a deal with eBay, or at least spin the movie in a positive light that eBay gets something out of it, right?
Yeah, I would imagine. When they went, but again, you don't have to. You can, if you're being truthful about what happened. So.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's just like a Yelp review. Your opinion is your opinion.
I don't know what's considered fair use in that type of situation as far as using their name and logo and stuff. It's not a documentary. It's obviously fictional-ish. I don't know how that would work.
Now, is it based on a story or on a true story, or is it loosely based on a true story?
I'd say loosely based.
Loosely.
I don't know. I just thought it would be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Is it already on Netflix or?
Yeah, it should. It's supposed to come out today.
I'll probably watch it. I'll probably watch the first episode, see if I like it. If it's decent, I'll watch it again. But other than that,
yeah.
I thought it was a movie.
I think it's a series.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a series. It's like one of the Netflix typical 8 or 10 show series, and
right.
If it does well, they'll pick it back up. If not, then that'll be it.
Oh, it's a series? I thought it was a movie.
Nah, it's going to be. I can't remember how many episodes they said.
Fishing and Picking has a question for Jason. What do you use to clean your hand tools? Is it worth to remove the surface rust?
WD-40.
It depends on what it is. I mean, for the most part, I do clean them, with the exception of antique type tools, especially in the woodworking category. They don't like when they're cleaned. But usually I'll use a a fine wire wheel on a slow speed. Will remove rust without making marks on the tool, and then follow it up by just like a little WD-40, or if there's a little more rust that the wheel won't get off, I'll use like a 000 steel wool.
13 episodes is what I signed up for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you use a wire wheel though, don't put it on like a high-speed grinder. It'll leave going too fast. It'll leave marks on it, and or if you lose your grip, it'll go flying at you.
Yeah, high-speed grinders are kind of dangerous. People they think it's just an innocuous little tool, and they're like, "Oh, I just flipped a little bench grinder on. They're like $30 at you pick them everywhere." And you're just like, that thing will shoot out and take your nose off and everything.
Hell yeah! And it doesn't matter how good you are, if you're using it enough, something will pop out of your hand.
Yeah, or you don't realize that little small item is going to heat up really fast. From that friction. Yeah, you can burn your hands off of that thing too.
Yes, I always wear safety glasses. Absolutely. Definitely a good tip. Last thing you want to do is get one of those piece of wire in your friggin' eye.
Oh man, wow.
I even actually at the warehouse, I even have a one of those emergency eye washes just in case. I almost had to use it a couple of months ago, but a piece of whatever gear grease slipped under the glasses somehow.
Ooh.
I managed to. It was still solidified, so I managed to just touch it and get it. It just came right out of my eye, but I almost reached for the bottle.
Face shield. Well, you don't have one of those emergency eye washes where you push the thing and it just splashes and dumps a gallon into your face like they have.
No, it's kind of like one of those things that hangs on the wall, and it's like a bottle of solvent, and you just rip it out. But once you use it once, you got to replace it.
Well, that was the bad thing. When I used to work at Lowe's, we were responsible for maintaining all the safety equipment, and theirs was the eye wash station was 2 1.5 gallon bags are on this machine, and all you do is you rip the thing down and it turns it into a fountain, and you bend your head over and it washes it out. But it's gravity fed, and it'll feed 3 gallons of the solution into your face. It's a one-time use thing. Once you use it, you got to replace both bags.
Yep.
And what was sad about it was people would be walking along and would hit it with something or lean on it the wrong way. Next thing you know, bam, and it's eye wash fluid everywhere, and it's crazy. And the way it works is it's got like 2 little big plastic paddles at the top. As soon as you open it up, it starts to drain down, and then that water, the weight of the unit pulls it down and then forcing more of that water out. It's kind of a unique design.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also one of those things that, like, yeah, you might not ever use it, but if you really need it, it's really good to know that it's there.
Oh, yeah.
When I was a kid, I got a piece of metal in my eye, and I was in the hospital for 4 days with it.
Mm.
They had it around the clock, wake me up every 15 minutes, put drops on, and then they have like these little drills that they use to fix your eye and stuff, and they'd gotten it out, but they had to do some repair. Just on the corner of my lens, on my eye, and that.
They had to put me in a coma to do something like that.
I know, serious.
I think I was like maybe 16 years old when it happened. I thought my eye was irritated. I didn't know I got a piece of metal in my eye, and it was irritated that night. And I thought, well, did I get pink eye? I've never had pink eye, but it was really irritated. So I went to the doctor the next day and I ended up getting put in the hospital.
You didn't even know how you got it.
Well, I was working at a horse farm, so we were baling hay, I think, or stacking hay. So I don't know if something came up off the baler, like a piece of metal or something, and just got in my eye. But I had also been at a horse show that weekend down in Illinois, and it was super muddy. And maybe I got it there, like splashed up out of the mud from showing horses. I don't know.
I'll tell you, ever watch it? After I watched the movie Hostel, I don't want to ever have a problem with my eyes ever or anyone watching.
I don't like when I go to the eye doctor now. I mean, I hate it when they put drops in my eye. I mean, you just about gotta like tie me down or something, because I mean I can't stand it. And I think part of that is from that stuff in the hospital. I mean, I was so sleep deprived by the time they were sticking drills in my eyes. I'm like, but it's gross.
I can't even handle that puff of air.
Oh yeah, I hate that.
Oh yeah, the puff. Oh god,
it takes forever for them to get that in my eye. Like last time, I just recently went and got my eyes examined, and she had to do it 3 times.
Oh, I think I managed like 8. She was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm the biggest wuss when it comes.
I wanted to, take my hands and like open my eyes, because just sitting there with that thing so close to your face, my eyes are just fluttering.
Yeah. I hate like when they do that exam and they reel that thing in really close to measure your eye. It don't touch your eye, but it's just that thing coming at my eye. Yeah, I hate it. My eye doctor is like, "Oh, you're a fighter."
Yeah, I can't handle that.
I went outside to my van. Is my sound better now?
Yeah. For now, at least. We'll see.
Stay in the damn van.
He always gets better service in the van.
I do.
What is up with that?
Better service in the van too, depending on what street corner I stop at.
Oh boy.
I think it's the metal around the van.
That's what happens when you live out in BFE. even turned my camera on, even though I look like crap.
Oh, you look beautiful, Nikki.
I wasn't about to say that, Nikki, but
and I don't mean that like.
At least I'm honest.
Jason.
You look like hell, Mickey. That's all right, though.
Actually, if anything, you look asleep.
Fishman Pickens says, I've got 2 glass eyes.
Oh boy, well, I guess it's hard to take pictures for eBay then.
Speaking of glass eyes, those things sell really well. Did you ever get a glass eye and sell it?
Yeah.
I mean, especially if they're older ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that means
a case of them once.
That means the Amish
sample case. You got really good money for it.
That means the Amish girl. That means the Amish girl wouldn't work for him too well because she can't take pictures.
Hey, wait a minute! Wasn't he just have a picture where he's watching people on the beach yesterday or something?
Yeah.
I think he said.
He's the one who was always talking about picking up an Amish girl.
Yeah.
That nasty gal, girl boss chick, I'm reading this story on, what is this, moviepilot.com, and it goes a little more into the details. She wasn't really a good business owner.
No.
Like, when just reading through the things that she did, I mean, she had claims from her employees that claimed they were discriminated against and unlawfully terminated. You know, that goes back to having employees. I mean, you have to know about employment law. You know, you have to know. I mean, I've gotten into arguments with employers and then just gone straight. And this is probably why I'm, not employable anymore, because I've been a boss and worked on my own and owned businesses, and so I've had to learn employment law. And the couple of times that I've gone to work for people, it hasn't ended well because I just flat out stand up and say, you can't do that. You realize you can't do that, right? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I most certainly can. I can do it. And I'm like, do you even know what the law says? You can't do that. And it's amazing. And some of them are a little bit bigger business people. And it was amazing how many of them just didn't have a freaking clue what you can and can't do with employment law. And it's going to vary from state to state. One employer many, many years ago, back when I was the milkman,
you were a milkman. Did you deliver horse
yes,
milk?
I was a milkman. And
you were milking those horses. I knew it.
And I developed.
The real story is he was probably milking himself.
All we're gonna say is there's a lot more little Dusties running around than everybody knows. That's all.
All right. Anyhow, so I developed carpal tunnel during the course of the job. I didn't. Wow. Yeah. No.
All right. You stepped in that one.
You walked right into that.
Yeah, I totally did.
Sounds like you're an independent contractor.
Because I wasn't listening to you guys. I was working alone. So anyhow, I went to him and I said, "Hey, listen, I don't know what's going on." And they sent me to the doctor. The doctor's like, "You got carpal tunnel from pulling the milk crates all day long, loading and unloading trucks and stuff." And
well, that's what it was from.
You know what? Kiss my face. So I go back. So I go back to the employer and I'm like, "Listen, I want to go to the doctor." And he's like, "You need surgery, whatever." And they're like, "We're not paying for it with workman's comp because it was pre-existing." I said, "I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what carpal tunnel was before I started this job." Well, come to find out, the company was based. They were new to Alabama, but they were based out of Tennessee, and they were basing all their crap on Tennessee law, which is different for unemployment than it is for Alabama. And so I ended up just saying, you know what? Okay, so you're telling me, they're like, you need to come back to work now. And I'm like, no, what? Screw you. I quit because you forced me to quit. And I hired a lawyer and sued the shit out of them and won. It didn't even go to court. It went in front of the judge, and the judge is like, pretty much, you guys were wrong. What do you want? And it's just, it's another, even with bigger businesses, a lot of times they don't know the laws. But, for a small business owner, I don't know. It's just, I'm not trying to scare somebody off from hiring employees and having a warehouse, but I just think a lot of people can't even run their own business successfully, much less you're going to hire employees,
And you really have to make sure you have your ducks in a row.
I do not know why I had pre-existing carpal tunnel. That's what I asked him. I was like, well, I'd worked for another milk company for about 6 months before that, and they tried to blame it on that.
Screw y'all.
Thank you for making me laugh today.
Don't feel bad,
Don't
Dusty.
cry.
Jim had the carpal tunnel surgery too.
I didn't end up having the surgery. I ended up taking a lump sum settlement, and it's gotten better over the years. I mean, there's mornings that I'll wake up and have to, Tristan will have to massage my wrists or whatever to help me. I'll wake up with both of them just dead asleep. But I just learned to live with it because I heard good and bad about the surgery.
Yeah, I had the surgery and I regret it to this day.
Yeah, that you were the one talking about the other day.
Because I mean, it was extremely painful after the surgery. I mean, because I was at the point where I'd be holding like a can of Pepsi or something like that, and the thing would literally just fall right out of my hand, and I'm just like, seriously? I mean, I had no real control over my hand, so I needed the surgery. The amount of pain I had after that first year after the surgery, you're feeling all the damage that was actually done was intense, and even to this day, my hands still ache. It's been 25 years since I had the surgery. I still have just severe pain in my hands at times, and I don't know. Again, I don't know. Maybe it would have been worse if I hadn't had the surgery. I don't really know, but yeah, that's the one I regret.
My mom had carpal tunnel. My mom had the surgery, and it was wonderful for her.
Yeah, Jim had his done both at the same time, so he had like no hands for a while.
I wiped my butt with like 2 fingers. You just take a little wad of toilet paper.
Oh, okay. Don't talk about that.
I mean, when you lose use of your hands, it's not easy. It was either that or find somebody else to take care of it for me.
Jim's there with like one of those like extender grip things that you stick on the wall, trying to wipe his ass down.
I just drag my ass across the living room carpet like a dog.
There you go.
I just back up against the monogram towels.
This is before.
They were monogrammed before, but Jim was learning to write his name. That's all he's trying to tell us.
Yeah,
So.
this is when he was
I
married
think
to
I was
his first.
divorced.
No, you were married to your first wife.
Or was I see? Oh, I wasn't.
Yeah, it was when your son had his back
Oh,
surgery.
she could have helped
too.
me, and she didn't. Damn it.
That's why I got rid of her.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be if she couldn't wipe your ass for you.
Oh man! But afterwards, though, for me it turned out great. But I have also heard it's like 50-50. It's either a horror story or it worked out great. Mine worked out great. Knock on wood.
Well, the surgeon that I talked to was not very encouraging. He was like, you know what, this may make it worse or whatever. And I'm like, okay, really, seriously? Like, I mean, appreciate you being honest, but no, I'm gonna pass.
Yeah. Jim, when you had yours done, did they cut your whole hand open?
He went in the kitchen. Hey, Jim, Eric's asking you something.
Oh yeah.
He's coming back.
He wants to know which 2 fingers.
No.
Oh, God. Okay, back.
No. Did they cut your whole hand open when they did it?
No, I have a 1 inch. I still have the scars. It's about 1.5 inches, 2 inch incision from like this part of my palm.
He pulls out his hand and it's brown.
Right down to the wrist.
Okay,
right down about this far. It's about that long scar.
They did mine arthroscopically. I just got like a little tiny slit right here. And I don't know if that made a difference in how well it worked. They actually went underneath and cut that tendon.
I could actually feel it during the surgery.
Yeah, I woke up
when the guy. Yeah, well, I was conscious. They just gave me a local. They put up like a curtain so you can't see what they're doing. They offered to let me watch. I said no, thank you. But when they cut it, I mean, it felt like cool water, like a cool liquid going through my wrist. It was that restricted. Because when they did the electrical test, where they shocked me,
yeah,
I asked the guy. He goes, well, I can't tell you what the doctor's going to do. I said, well, I'll probably get physical therapy or something. The guy just like. He goes, don't tell him I told you this, but no, you're definitely getting surgery. He goes, yours is the worst I've ever seen. Because I could actually feel it when he shocked me. I said, oh, wow, I could feel it travel through my arm. And he goes, yeah. He goes, as bad as yours is, I believe it. He goes, because most people, that's traveling like, supposed to travel like at the speed of light. He goes, you're so restricted. He goes, I almost believe it.
Tell him how you used to sleep at the kitchen table. That guy told you that.
I put a pillow on the kitchen table at night when I could, because they'd wake me up, my arms. So I put a pillow on the kitchen table and then lay my chest on it and just let my arms dangle free. It was the only way I could get through the night. I was sleeping like maybe 45 minutes a night. It was murder. I had to go in. It was too much.
Yeah, I was actually, I had a job where I was doing access control for Bank One, which is no longer around anymore. But I ran all their access control and all the programming. So if somebody was hired by them, we'd have to create an access control bag, and then we'd have to go in and sit there and type all their information, and then figure out what buildings are going to be allowed in and which sections of each building. So, and that was 8 hours a day, constantly typing, and it was brutal. And I quit that job, and I got another job where I was running a camera system. So instead of typing, I'm sitting there running joysticks like this and typing on the other hand, and it just got to be too much. And so I had the surgery. But I didn't do it with workman's comp. I actually did it for my own insurance because it was such a pain in the ass to go through workman's comp. I'm like, the hell with that. As long as I get the time off, and I literally took a week off with one hand. 2 weeks later, I got the surgery, and I was back at work in 3 days. I mean, most people take 6 months off for the surgery. I was really working, catching shoplifters with bad hands, and after surgery, after basically 3 weeks.
I think mine was like 1 week or two. I think maybe it was like 2 weeks or something. You couldn't lift anything. It was you had like zero lift limitation. So.
I thought it was funny. So the one thing they told you is if you trip and fall, make sure that you just fall flat or fall on your shoulder or whatever. Don't put your hands out.
Yeah, I tore one. I tore the one on my right hand. If I squeeze my fist, I can see that it like pops up. It's like a hernia in there. I had a big old lab, and I was gonna let him out, and he saw somebody on the road, and he had a runner, and before I could clip the runner, he like lunged towards the person. Of course, I had to grab him, and that messed up the one wrist. But it doesn't hurt or anything, but I have these weird like lumps, where it messed up the ligament a little bit.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm like, I'm gonna fall. Yeah, right. I'm gonna fall. Like 4 days after the surgery, I fell down the steps of my house.
Oh, really?
I'm bouncing down the steps, trying to protect my hands, smacking into the wall. Like, hit the landing. I'm like, this is just not what I need.
His head's all bloody because he's protecting his hand.
He's still in a coma, but his hands are.
That's right. Yeah, it was just. I mean, and like I said, apprehending shoplifters. I mean, every now and then you have to fight, and I'm sitting there trying to make sure I wasn't getting anybody who's going to fight me on anything. So.
Well, they got me. They tried to get me with type. They were telling me, "Oh, it must be because you type at the real estate office. That must be why you have it." Because I think they were trying to push me towards workman's comp or something. And I told them, "Well, it's usually when I use a chainsaw or use a sawzall on stuff." And they're like, because obviously I'd use one of those power tools, like either a sawzall, not so much a circ saw, but a sawzall or a chainsaw, and I'm laid up for the next 3 days. My arms would just be killing me after doing that.
Yep. I remember
it was definitely linked to that.
Yeah, the pain I used to get in my elbows and my forearms was just killer, and that's when you realize, I don't get that pain so much anymore. So I mean, that part of the surgery was probably better for me. I don't feel it as much, but man, that first couple of years after the surgery, it was brutal.
Yeah, I never got bad side effects. Mine was just golden. I mean, it was a life-changing experience. It was awesome. It's like your first time you make love. It's like, I haven't been doing this for a long time.
Okay, why do you have to even say that?
Well, it was great.
Okay, well, that's awesome, but you didn't have to say it. That's just wrong.
Because we believe in driving the point home.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's too much.
I was able to milk crates better.
You were able to milk the horses better.
We like Jim and his stories. You be nice to him, Tara.
I have to live with his stories.
Yeah, but that's your own doing.
Yeah, I tried to talk him out of marrying me, but he wouldn't listen.
I just like the ones that start out with one night in this parking lot at this bar.
We didn't say too many of those. We've had those happen, but
oh my God, you know our story.
How did you know that?
What's everybody got going on this weekend?
Nothing very exciting. I don't have any options.
Listing challenge.
Oh yeah, how's everybody doing on their listing challenge? That's what you should have going on.
That's right.
I haven't listened to anything.
Jim's on the guys team and he hasn't listed one thing.
Wow. Somebody's slacking.
Yeah.
He's waiting until the last couple of days before it's ending. And
I'm so far ahead of him, he'll never catch up with me
and
now.
she keeps like she's giving me like chores and stuff. She's sandbagging me.
Go out there and milk the bull.
I don't have couches.
Stick him out there and make like 20 crates. And
He
then
did
don't
have to do a
anything.
deer head. He had to do a deer head yesterday, so he's bitching about that for like a day and a
this
half.
is beautiful. A $39.99 deer head. Paid shipping, but still $39.90, $40. I gotta go out there and spend 2.5 hours building a crate.
It didn't take you 2.5 hours.
$40 flipping deer head.
You're lying.
Oh my God, I would have threw it out.
Yeah, exactly. It was a piece of crap. Yes, it wasn't even worth $40. I hope the buyer isn't listening. But, I mean, it wasn't even worth $40. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm building a crate for this turd.
You know what's worse is if he opens up a return after all that work.
Yes, if they open a return,
They're just
jump
gonna.
off a bridge.
They open the return, they're gonna get to keep that deer head.
Yeah,
It's not coming back.
burn it.
Yeah,
Oh, that reminds me, I got another deer head to list.
It had like its lower lip was hanging down. It was the worst taxidermy. Like the neck is all wrong and the shape of the head is wrong.
And it's a spiker too. They don't even have a good horns.
Well, it's a prong. It's a 4 point.
Oh, was it a 4
Yeah, it's a 4-point prong. So it's got this big head with these itty bitty antlers. Its chin is like peeled off. If you go on our solds, if you know our story, if you go to our solds, it'll be in there. But I mean, its chin's hanging out. It's the ugliest thing you've ever seen. And somebody paid 40, or they paid 60. Or they paid, yeah, I think it was $65 at the end. Yeah, except it cost us $10 more to ship it because the dimensions weren't right. But
shut up.
Nah, whose fault is that?
That was a gym listing, is what she's trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, Fishing and Picking has 109 listings so far. That's good.
Cool. Is Fishing and Picking a boy or girl? I don't mean that in a shitty way. I don't know.
Fishing and Picking is a boy.
Is he a boy? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. I did
probably a man.
I've done 100.
I'm sure I'm sure he'd rather be called a man.
Yeah.
Well, I call them boys.
No, all I said is I did 119, so I beat him. So that's good for our side.
Oh yeah.
Yay. That's awesome.
Tara always thinks she's so good.
I don't think I'm good at all. I'm just an amateur. But I will say,
for my ass.
She don't think it. She knows it.
Yeah.
I'm doing parts, so they go fast, and I can list a lot when I do parts. I went and hit the parts balance.
What we can't see is that Jim actually has her chained to the desk. So
He's got that gun behind me. He's got all those guns. He starts racking guns and cleaning them, so I get to work.
Get to work.
Why are the cops?
What the hell? What the hell?
That's not funny. Sometimes you got to be careful what you say. Look at that time Dusty and Tristan did their first show, and all those people thought that he was talking nasty to Tristan and that she shouldn't put up with that stuff. And
yes, Jim is very good to me. He doesn't threaten me or beat me or anything. He doesn't never try
as long as you deliver on your sandwiches, it's probably okay.
And it was all these comments of like, no man's gonna speak to me that way. I can't believe you put up with that. He's abusive and all this. It's like, oh dear God, shut your ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she'd whoop my ass. Now we started. I remember that it was the first married reseller couple when we did it together, and she wasn't ready yet. She was taking freaking forever, and we were like 30 minutes late getting started. And I was like, "Really?" And she was doing her hair or something. And
I remember now.
we hadn't set. We were going to try to do it from two different computers in 2 different rooms, and then it wouldn't work, and I was frustrated. I said, I told you we should have set it up earlier or whatever, and I started the camera, and I was just, ow. Yeah, I get that occasionally. It happens, but
and to me, it looked like normal 20-year marriage stuff, you know.
By the end of the show, we're laughing. That's how we are, But just the hate I got on it was like, dear God. Yeah, she's closet abused. That's it. She whooped my ass. Seriously.
The bruises are on the inside.
Do what?
You sound like one of those sheltered things. I can see that on the wall or something.
I said Tristan's bruises are on the inside.
Yeah. I'm emotionally abusive to her.
My husband, ever since that Lifetime movie, Men Don't Tell, he always says that. Well, men don't tell, I'm like, yeah.
Now we're gonna go and watch like The Burning Bed or something, right?
Oh my God.
Good job, Valerie.
Harbor Freight's having a 3-day sale. 20% off. Harbor Freight.
Oh, they have
Just got the text message.
I was gonna say, isn't every day a sale with them?
I know.
The one by me has this big sign that says "blowout sale." Except the thing is that it's been mounted on the roof of the building for like the past 2 years.
Yeah. the text.
Don't get me wrong. I like, I'm not big into Chinese tools, but a couple of things are very handy. Like I got my scissor lift cart from there for it holds 1,000 pounds, and I think it was only like $200 if I remember right after the discount.
Their tool quality has actually improved, and it's gotten better over the years. I mean, obviously, the bigger the company gets, the better they can source, and their pricing is staying very competitive. They get better quality stuff, but I mean, it's throwaway tools. Just understand that it's probably going to break in its lifetime.
Mm.
My husband just got a new tool set from there, for like $170, and it's a few layers of tools. It's a lot of tools. Anyways, it's Pittsburgh, and he said it all has a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, I mean, I have the grinder and the buffer and the scissor lift. I think those are the main 3. But they're kind of cool even to get moving blankets and straps and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I go, like I said, I go over there if I got a tool that I mean, they're really good for stuff like a ball joint separator I had to buy recently. It was like $6. It's a piece of metal.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I have to work on the Suzuki, so I didn't want to spend big money on mechanics tools because I don't really do mechanics. So I got a torque wrench there, and it was like $20. I mean, that's cheap as shit for a torque wrench.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I'm just going to use for this one job, maybe use it again in another 2 years. It's not like something I need to depend on for my business or anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's my husband got this toolkit for something to keep in the car, and so stuff that so he doesn't take his good tools to fix something for somebody else, And he said it's just fine for that, and it's Pittsburgh, and it all has a lifetime warranty. So and he only paid like $150 or $170 for it. It's a pretty nice tool set.
I mean, but on the same aspect,
almost everything.
If you look at some of their bigger power tools, like a bandsaw or something like that, it's just the quality is so poor compared to
Yeah.
But so it really depends on what your budget is and what how often you need to use it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I got my MIG welder from there, and it works just fine. I don't use it very often, but it did the job that I needed it for great, and I've used it a few other times since then. So I mean, I've never had any problem. But I didn't use their wire. Their wire is what got some bad reviews. So I switched over and bought the Lincoln welding wire, and that's really the difference there.
Well, my husband is notorious for when he takes his tools to go, like his niece needs him to come work on her car or something. He's notorious for losing his good Snap-on and stuff tools. But this gave him a throwaway set that he can take with him, and if he loses something.
Yeah, I have one of those complete toolkits in my truck that are like totally because I have a habit of like leaving shit behind or I'm at a house taking stuff apart.
Yeah.
So I make sure I have that junky but complete tool set that I can replace anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he likes it for.
Eighth.
Plus, he can't find hardly any of his tools in his garage right now, anyways, because of me. So.
Oh, you got that place crapped up too?
Yeah. I got everything crapped up.
I swear to God, every fucking room and crevice Nicky crapped up to the ceiling with shit.
Yep. I do. I got stuff everywhere.
Oh, I know. And the best part is you'll be at an auction tonight, probably.
Yeah, there is no auction tonight, but I was at one last night.
See?
But you know what? I never run out of inventory.
How'd you do last night?
Yeah.
I didn't stay that long. I wasn't feeling good, and then some people just pissed me off, and I was like, I need to leave before I smack someone. So, like the lady who does the numbers, okay, the writing.
Yeah.
They do a small. It was raining yesterday, so they only had a small amount of stuff like wood and outside stuff outside, and she's standing in the doorway, and we had started out inside and got a couple box rows out of the way because the place was packed, and excuse me. And so I bought a couple boxes, and of course I wasn't feeling good, so I put them all on the dolly and hauled them out to my car that way because my husband wasn't with me. And so I'm like, excuse me, and she won't get out of the freaking way of the ramp. And finally somebody says, hey, she's trying to get down the ramp. And she goes, oh. And then, I go, I take my boxes to my car, and I come back with the dolly. And she's still standing in the damn doorway, and she won't get out of the way. Excuse me. And the guy goes, she's trying to get through. Jesus Christ, people come in here 10, 12 times, in and out. Just either stay in or stay out.
Oh boy.
And then she turned around and realized it was me, and she kind of had that look like, whoops, because nobody talks to me like that, because I'm a regular. Anyways,
yeah.
I was like, screw you, get out of the damn door,
Yeah.
I mean, well, you stand in the doorway. What do you expect, So I just
I hate shit like that
I was just
at auctions. The one I was at the last time, there were these narrow rows in between the tables. They were selling off the tables, so everyone's like crowded around. Well, they're done at the table, and they hop to the next table, and I want to get over there, but I can't because there's like a gaggle of guys on one side, and then on the other side, there's this lady that's like 80 years old or so, older lady, and she's in one of those cart things. She couldn't move. She was stuck. So I was tempted to go under the table for a minute, and I was like, no, big guy going under the table, that anything could happen,
Yeah.
So I was stuck there for like 5 minutes.
Well, one day I was telling Tara, how there's no room around the table. Well, here this lady's got like 4 kids with her, and they're all standing around the table taking up good real estate, And I was like, if you're not bidding, you should step back, because what do them kids got to be up there for?
That's
if it's really crowded and me and my husband are there and I'm bidding, he stands behind me so that he can take stuff from me, but he makes sure there's enough room for somebody else that wants to bid. Get your damn kids out of there.
When they crowd tables and they have no intention of bidding whatsoever.
Yeah, they just want to.
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah, that drives me crazy. When I try to, because one auction I get to, they line the tables up, and there are like 10 tables, and you got and they're only about this wide. So I mean, you don't barely enough room for two people to pass together. So what happens is you get this long line of people, and you get the lean. Everybody else is leaning a little further and further in. You're at the end of the table, and your head is against the wall like this because that's the only sight view you've got. And you realize you're one of the few people that are sitting on the stuff, and you're like, "What the hell are all you people doing here? Get out of the way!"
You know what's worse? You know what else happened to me that day? When a person's there and you're at the table, and I was like in the center, and the auctioneer and the runner are to the right of me, and they're going towards me, you know, with the lot. So they keep having to move closer and closer. So everyone has to move, you know, away, you know. Well, the guy to my left refused to move, period.
Yeah.
So I eventually got stuck. And it was so freaking annoying.
Yep. Oh, I know. People won't move. And then sometimes, because I can't see, I'll go underneath, like, and look between people, and I'll be like, I'll have my face at somebody's ass level. I'll be, please don't fart. I got my head down here trying to see. And I'll tell them that, please don't fart, because I've always had this envisionment of me being there, and all of a sudden somebody let a big gassy stinky one, you know. And all I taste is beef stew or something.
Beef stew?
I've had people have that choice table. Oh my God, Nick.
Haven't you ever seen Transformers?
Yeah.
What did Tara say about running choice?
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you were.
A little bit.
I'll refresh. My computer's being stupid today.
That's I don't know if that's what she said, but that's what I was about to say. I was just waiting for a lull in the conversation. And that's my biggest pet peeve is that one little 90-year-old lady that they ran choice on the table, and she wants to stand there and take 10 minutes to pick out the one trinket that she wants.
Oh, I know. Our auctioneer will say, come on, we got to go. You know, they'll hurry her up. Yeah.
Now, a good auctioneer will say, okay, we're going to move on to this lot over here. We're going to come back to that one. And he'll go on and start auctioning other lots. And I'm done shipping today.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, this stuff has been here all day. Why didn't you look and see what you wanted on the table, you know, already?
Well, there's one auction I go to that's mostly antiques and collectibles, but it never fails that, you know, they have the occasional table full of milk glass hobnail or whatever, or the depression glass or whatever, and that just slows everything down, because then it's not the resellers want to look at it, it's the little old lady that comes up, which is fine. I mean, you can't expect everybody at an auction to be there for the purposes of reselling, but yeah, like you said, look at the stuff ahead of time, know what you want, you know. Get there and preview the stuff.
The worst is even when not only is there a preview, but you're allowed to walk around and look at everything during the entire auction.
Yeah.
And you still don't know when the time comes.
Yep. See, a lot of times if I go there early and look and see what's there, I'll take a magic marker with me and I'll put an X on the boxes I want. You know, you can't do that when you get to table buy-in, but like box rows, I'll put an X on the boxes I want, and then sometimes it backfires and I end up on the opposite side of the X's, but
someone puts an O and you're like,
yeah. Yeah.
Good idea, Nikki.
Yeah. Well, because sometimes, you know, because we have a lot of box rows, and sometimes you sit there, you go there at, you know, 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're looking and you're seeing what you want. And yeah, you can make notes or whatever, but you still sometimes forget which boxes you wanted, you know. So
honestly,
sometimes
I would say the thing that pisses me off probably the most is when people start moving the items out of the box and putting it into another box.
Oh my God, I hate that.
That is my number one. I fucking hate you.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And that'll get you kicked out of the auction. You do that stupid shit.
Yeah.
but people do
We
it
have
religiously.
Yep.
An auction we go to where the ringman's this old guy, this old, always like, I call him fiddle fingers because he'll mix stuff all up. Jim will be just
It's like a damn shell game. You know, you're walking in your box, and he picks it up, and he just moves it to the other end of the holding table, and then goes to another box, and then shifts that one again for no reason. He's supposed to just
but he'll take stuff out of one box and put it in a different box.
So he's curious about to walk over down to the other end of the table and drop in a box. Well, that part was supposed to go with the parts in the other box, you idiot.
You know, I was just going to say, I don't mind it if, like, someone notices that a part for a specific thing really belongs in this lot because that's the rest of it. That I don't mind.
Yeah.
But
this guy's doing just the opposite. He's taking things that should be grouped together and dispersing them. And for no reason. He's bored.
The reason is because he knows that other box isn't going to bring any bids, so now he's going to make somebody who wants that to buy 2 boxes all of a sudden.
I would like to give him that much credit, but if you knew this guy, I don't think he's that smart. Trust me, on this particular ring man, they're always yelling at him because he's not taking the stuff
When he
out.
drops the door and he breaks it like a slam glass.
Yeah, he's always dropping stuff or throwing stuff. You know, they're always yelling.
That's my other pet peeve is people that go through those boxes and they end up crash, bang, boom, and end up, you know, you picked out a box. God dang it. There we go. Somebody called me. You pick out a box and then you go back and you buy that box and here all of a sudden everything in there is chipped or broken or whatever. Oh God, that ticks me off.
Yeah.
That and blatant outright stealing of your stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
That drives me nuts.
This particular ring man.
When it's just you, you know?
Yeah.
I had that actually happen to me. I had stuff stolen. I mean, just outright stolen. Took my box, and and it wasn't an accident because it couldn't have been. I mean, there was no way they could have done it. But when you're by yourself, I mean, that's the desperation factor. You got to figure out where to put your stuff, and you know, I never cover my stuff with a blanket. I try to put it and make it look unattractive. But I always figure if you threw a blanket or something over top of it, people would think, oh, there's good stuff, and they're going to go through it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the absolute worst is when there's more than one ring, and you physically can't be there to watch your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, or another in the other ring, and then you write out the check at the end of the day, and you're like, oofed up.
Yeah, and I don't like. I mean, I know they do it. I mean, I know it's a valid reason, but I hate going to an auction where they do 2 or 3 rings, and they take the same stuff, the stuff you might be interested, and they're selling it in all 3 rings.
Oh yeah.
Like, can't we just have tools over in this ring, and you can put household over here and antiques over here? No, you got to mix it all up. So you're running around like an idiot, hanging out in the doorway, going, okay. I mean, that drives me
there.
Yeah, and then last night, another thing that just ticked me off was other people, you know, like I got the bid for the waste so I could get in and get my box. And then even the auctioneers yelling at them and they're still not moving. It's like, get the hell out of the way. Oh, God, I was so pissy yesterday. I was like, you know what? Before I make enemies, I need to go home. Plus, there was a tornado warning in Duluth, so I was like, I need to go home.
You need to get that rascal scooter that you were talking about, and you just run, and then just run people over.
There you go. That's what I'm gonna do. Get the hell out of the way. I'm gonna put a big old Ugo. I'm gonna put a big old Ugo horn on it.
Move! Get out the way! Get out the
way! That's a good song, Jason.
I know it is, isn't it?
Well, that was Saturday when I was at the auction. And I'm real good friends with the auctioneer and the whole family, you know. And anyways, I was listening to the auctioneer and I couldn't hear him because people behind me were talking too loud. And I go, shush, shush, shush. And here after that, I realized here it was the auctioneer's brother I shushed. And he's a really good friend of mine. He comes up to me later. He goes, "Hey, Nick, I'm really sorry about that earlier." I said, "Well, God, it just gets so irritating when you can't hear, you know." But yeah, and he made mention of it that I shushed him. It's like, well, shut your goddamn mouth and you won't be shushed. Care who you are.
He's like, shut your pie hole.
Yeah, and I do too. I tell him I don't care.
Yeah, you got shushed instead of shut the fuck up, you know.
Yeah, I was being polite.
Wow, there's a yard sale just south of town. A huge indoor garage sale, as seen on American Picker Show, January 14th, 2014.
Honestly, I
They're
think
gonna have crazy pricing. Frank and whatever you guys' name said this is worth this much money.
Yeah, if they didn't buy it, it's not worth anything.
I wonder how you figure out which episode that is.
Might be able to Google the town.
14th, 2004, January 14th, 2014.
Oh yeah, the date.
Kiss and Sell.
They couldn't put the episode number?
Yeah, no doubt. Make it easy on me. Kiss and Sell was the name of it. Episode number 121.
You know that's going to be a really high price rummage sale.
The only thing that should be high priced is the stuff that you're selling.
Everybody wave at Naked Man.
I like to call him Encino Man.
Everybody make faces at him. Sally's trying to get better ratings with cleavage.
What was that, Val?
What?
Valerie didn't say anything. Doesn't she normally have headphones in?
Yeah.
Oh.
Somebody, I don't remember who. Huh?
No, he did. What, Nikki?
Somebody, I don't know who, posted a picture of somebody with a big gut with a gorilla drawn on their gut. I told Sally she needed to tell her husband he needed to gain some weight so we could do that to him. Draw a big old gorilla on his belly. I need to go take a nap, I think. I was telling Valerie I have to drive down to the cities tonight to take my daughter to the airport.
Duluth have a airport?
Yeah, but It's a lot more expensive to take a flight out of Duluth.
Oh, is it?
It's cheaper to drive down to the cities and take a flight out of the cities than it is to take a flight right out of Duluth. I don't know. It used to be. I don't know if it still is, but who knows?
What is that yellow thing behind you, Nick? It's like a bar.
Behind me?
Yeah. She fell over.
Oh, it's a Han this?
Yeah.
It's a Han floor cleaner.
Oh, okay.
It's worth about $30 to $40.
Cool. At first I thought it was a bicycle grip, and then I noticed it wasn't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, floor cleaner. I still haven't cleaned my van out from Saturday.
You know, you say that on so many episodes, I lost track.
I know.
I just assume it's always full.
I know. Usually it's full from Thursday to Thursday. Well, now I got to start cleaning it out twice a week because I'll have auctions on Saturday.
Yep.
Now that it's warming up, though, I should get more listings done now that it's warming up. It's supposed to be like 62 degrees tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can work out in my garage comfortably at 62 degrees.
You're like a groundhog. You like pop your head out and it's too cold, so then you decide you can't list for another 6 weeks.
Well, the thing is that my whole house is in an uproar because we're remodeling. Plus, I've got plus in the wintertime, I bring all this crap into my house because I can't work out in the garage, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Wait, is remodeling moving the shit from one area to the other?
No, we're really remodeling the house. Anyways, I've got the dining room just full, you know, and then we've got all the furniture moved around and everything, you know, and then all remodeling stuff, you know, and that. So the house is just a shambles right now. And so in order to list, I mean, it would be terrible to try to even list in there even. So I'm waiting for it to warm up so I can get stuff out of my house and get it. And I'm waiting for I was hoping to leave my house alone until my building is built so that I'm not touching the stuff more than once, you know?
Yeah.
When's it being built?
As soon as it dries up enough to build a building.
Oh, okay. So it's this summer, or you'll have it up?
Yeah. Hopefully. This has been 2 years coming, so we'll see.
I remember you talking about it last year.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Well, the first year was my dad had a big list for my husband to do. So it got put off. And then last year my husband had surgery, so it got put off again. I told him, I said, before any lists get done, and for anything else for Steam Show, for anything else, my building will be built. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Well, I told my dad now, so maybe, so he'll make sure it gets done before anything else. Because when my husband goes over there and says, come on, Nick, let's get this done or that done, my dad will say, oh, do you got to get Nikki's building built? I'll have my dad on my side this year.
Well, I think it's time to wrap it up, y'all. Go get some things done today and have a great weekend. Get the sales and lots of listings done. We're listed. We gotta keep our average up.
Yeah.
Can't let the guys get up ahead of us. So come on. All right, we'll see you all on Monday.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.